Hello and welcome. You're watching Ask PQ on Bloomberg Quint. I am Agam Vakil and with me is Alex Matthew. Hi, Alex.
As always, a pleasure, Agam. Well, you watching the show that gets you answers to all your equity-related queries. You can send those questions to us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube and WhatsApp. You can also call us on 022-454-04141 or you can mail us on askpq@bloombergquint.com. Just make sure to add the Ask PQ hashtag.
Well, the benchmark indices are building on gains that we've seen yesterday. Nifty holding on to 10,900, advancing by a little less than 0.25%. Sensex also advancing in tandem with the Nifty. The Bank Nifty, well, that is also up and about, gaining 0.5%. Let's take a look at the broader market indices too and see whether or not they are actually moving. And well, for a change today, they are not lagging the benchmark indices. Also up and about, the small cap index specifically gaining by a little less than 0.5%. Let's take a look at the gainers and losers then. And well, we do have Wipro, which is advancing by as much as 2.8% on an intraday basis. The top gainer on the index, do remember, it has been on a constant up move since we understand the company has announced that they will consider a bonus share issue along with its earnings this upcoming Friday. And Indiabulls Housing Finance along with IndusInd Bank also are advancing in trade. Taking a look at the losers and see where the pressure's coming in. Very little loss actually for UPL and JSW Steel along with Bajaj Finance losing out by a little over 1%. Clearly the momentum is with the gainers. And we're going to continue to keep an eye on 10,900 today as far as the Nifty is concerned, Alex.
All right. Well, that's how the markets look at this moment. Let's get our two experts in for the day. We've got NS Fidai, who's a technical analyst and mentor, who's joining us in the studio. And we've got Gaurang Shah of Geojit Financial Services, who's joining us remotely. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us on this program. I'm going to start with an intraday view right on the top of the show. This is a query on YouTube from Karthikeyan. He's asking for an intraday view on Zee Entertainment, Mr. Fidai. Okay. What are the levels like? How is it looking?
Zee needs to cross above actually 464, 465 to become, a sort of bullish kind of momentum here. Otherwise, it remains in a selling. There is a lots of selling pressure on the stock. So if you want to go short, you can go short with a stop loss around 467 and go short near to 464. Okay, and on the downside, there could be a potential of it could go up to 450 again. So that could be a possibility.
Okay, well, that's your view on Zee Entertainment, which has come off to a certain extent from its day's highs. It's still, of course, advancing by as much as 4 points right now. So watch out for that at around 460. But with that, we move on and take a query on mail. And this one is for Gaurang because this is a portfolio management 101 question. We have Kunal Pathak, who writes to us on mail. He asks how much of the percentage in a portfolio should be allocated to just one stock? Is it okay to just have 3 or 4 stocks in the core portfolio? Well, I'm sure that Gaurang will have a lot more to say about diversification, so I'm going to hand it over to him. Gaurang, good afternoon. What is your view in terms of, having how many ever stocks in your portfolio? I reckon to a certain extent, will it also come down to the ticket size?
Thank you, Agam, and good afternoon to you, Alex, and all the viewers. So there is no, thumb rule as such, if you will, that you should have 1, 2 stocks, or maybe you should have 10 stocks. It all depends upon what is the corpus, like you rightly mentioned, the ticket size, as we call it. So let me make it simple for all the viewers and investors. Hypothetically speaking, if you have a portfolio, or if your capital is say 10 lakhs, then you should not have more than 5 or 6 stocks dedicated to maybe 4 or 5 sectors, preferably large cap in mind, and then slipping on to select mid cap ideas depending upon sectors. Broad diversification is only necessary when we don't know what we are doing. That is what the great guru has told us. And when we know what we are doing, the portfolio size will be small, it will be neat and tidy, and the performance would be well tracked. So have this kind of an approach, 10 lakh rupees, maximum 5 or 6 stocks, not more than that, starting with large cap and then select mid caps.
Okay. We've got another question for you, Gaurang. This one right down your alley, considering you're so fit and you know exactly what to do with regard to fitness. We've got a question from Shefali on mail, and she wants to know whether it's a good idea to put money into Talwarkar better value fitness for the long term.
Well, thanks, Alex. One does have to take care of health nowadays, given the kind of modern day life that we live. And along with modern day life comes modern day diseases. So you have to take care of your health, wealth. And of course, life will be comfortable if you take care of your health. So Talwarkar has not been actually a wealth creator, to be very honest. FMCG is something that excites us. And if you're looking at broader markets, mid caps, if you will, in the FMCG side, then a couple of investment ideas, Dabur Marico, Imami Limited and Godrej Agrovet. My sense is that the consumption FMCG related theme is likely to do much better going forward from here on. And Talwarkar's, you know, see the problem, Alex, is that there is a huge competition from the unorganized sector. Though GST now coming in has brought all the players in line and has made a level playing field. But nevertheless, having said that, there's a huge competition. So one needs to bear that in mind and make appropriate choice of sector and stocks.
Okay, well, moving on to the next query on technicals. We have a query from Mank Saraf, and he actually wants to know, well, he wants to get a good view on any of pharma sectors where, with a time horizon of around 6 to 12 months, the best pick that can be brought into. So, considering it's a short-term query, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. NS Fidai. Mr. Fidai, your view here, anything that you like?
Yeah, I like Torrent Pharma. Actually, the stock is one of the strongest stock currently.
Yeah.
Like, you know, in Pharma Pack, it has given breakout into lifetime high zones, and it's a beautiful setup over there. One can buy this if there is some correction on the dips up to maybe 1820, and if the person is looking for a longer term, then he can even look at buying up to 1755. Okay, and on the upside, we see something like, you know, it can do 2200 approximately in extreme short term, that is around 6 months time.
Okay.
So,
what about the realty space? Do you think that there are
I'm not very bullish on realty, to tell you the truth. Most of the stocks are actually like doing Me Too kind of, you know, means they are trying to jump up, right, because like, you know, the markets have moved and they have not yet performed well. And there is lots of lag over there, and they will face lots of resistance on every rise.
Okay.
So I would prefer to be seller on rise rather than, you know, buy on dips.
Okay.
Okay, let's pull up something like a La Opala and see where it's currently trading. From what I can see, it's around that 220 mark. Well, not doing too much in trade today. Volume is not very high, but we've got a question from Rahul Tiwari. This one's for you, Gaurang. He's asking for a long-term view, if you have one, on La Opala.
So no fundamental coverage on La Opala, but it is one of the niche and marquee names as far as the products and offerings that they have. No peer comparison listed entity, if you will, Alex. And on the earnings front, well, it has been a decent performer. And like you likely mentioned, not a very liquid counter. My only request would be that keep track of the earnings, have a little bit of insight as far as where the company is growing, and review your investment at regular intervals. Unfortunately, no fundamental coverage, so can't comment buy, sell and hold.
Okay, Gaurang, do you cover Shelley Engineering Plastics, a stock that has been spoken about much these days? We have Rishabh Jain, who asks if he can make a fresh entry at current market price for the long term. Shelley Engineering Plastics.
This is totally out of the woods, Agam. Won't be able to comment.
Okay, no worries.
Okay, all right, let's take a short-term query. This one from Arun. He's looking for a 1 to 3 month technical view, and I managed to understand that one of the stocks, Arun, unfortunately we won't be able to get you a view on, but we can get you a view on the second one, which is Surya Roshni. If we can pull up the stock, he's bought at 226 levels, and I'll remind you, Mr. Fidai, that he's looking for a 1 to 3 month view.
Okay, great. He's got a very good entry actually, and that would be his, you can raise his stop loss to 230 or 228. Okay, and till it stays above 240, the stock has potential to go up to 280, which is almost like 200 DEMA for this stock. He can book partial profit over there and maybe continue trailing the stock. And if it performs then if it can go all the way up to even 330-ish in shorter term. Maybe 3 to 6 months. So within 3 months, he can expect 280 here.
All right. Mr. Fidai, we have one more question for you. It's on Radico Khaitan. We have Puneet Nanda, who wants a view on Radico Khaitan. He's entered into the stock at 400 and he has bought around 2,000 shares for this company. It's currently at a 415. How are the charts looking, Mr. Fidai?
Chart seems to be like, it's looking up actually. It is bullish. It is consolidating right now. The stock needs to cross 434, 436. If it's able to cross that, then you can expect it to go all the way up to 500 also, which was the previous lifetime high. And he can keep a stop loss below 401 probably.
Okay.
So that's his buying price, so he will not lose any money.
Right.
And he's got a good entry here.
Gaurang, you've already spoken about a couple of names in the FMCG space. But we've got Parth, who's holding HUL at levels of 1,808, which is a bit higher than the current market price. He's lost a bit of ground. What do you have to say about this blue chip name? Should he hold for the long term, and what are the prospects really?
So tomorrow we'll have the numbers, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, from HUL for third quarter this financial year.
Yes.
2 quarters of double-digit volume growth, stellar performance, and for the last 1.5 year, I think the stock has given you more than 30-40% return, because if I recollect and my memory serves me right, about a year and a half back it was trading at about 1,000 or 1,200 odd. From there it went up to 1,800 and then has corrected. The long term we remain positive. I hope the investment is for the long term. If you get any disappointment tomorrow or in the near term because of election, use those dips to average from a long term point of view. 2150 to 2265 is the target.
Okay, Gaurang, I know that in the past we've spoken quite comprehensively about life insurance companies. And we have a question from Ujjwal Kumar. He wants to know, and wants to get a fundamental view on HDFC Life. I was looking at the valuations, and perhaps if there is anything that, that may deter me to put in money in HDFC Life, it would be exactly that, its valuations. How would you see this one, and perhaps if we compare it to something like an SBI Life and ICICI Prudential?
So let me put it on record, Dagam, on all 3 life insurance related companies, HDFC Life, SBI Life, ICICI Pru. We had a positive coverage, we had a subscribe in the IPO note, and we remain extremely positive. There is huge potential in terms of tapping the untapped markets, especially in the semi-urban, rural India, Tier 2, Tier 3 cities. Approach towards insurance is changing dramatically, and that itself is a huge positive, along with the government policy of Ayushman Bharat. So I think it's just a humble beginning. And let me say one thing very clearly. If you want to buy quality and premium names, you have to pay a higher price. Yes, in the near term or mid term, you may find it expensive, but over a longer period of time on earnings, everything is well justified.
All right, let's take a short-term query now. We've got Emil, who's asking on YouTube for a technical view on All Cargo Logistics, holding at 145. He's not told us the quantum, but what are the levels that he should watch out for? He's losing some ground. 110 is where it's at.
Actually, the stock has corrected quite a bit, and it's trading below 200 DEMA for quite a long time. And now it is showing some traction, and it is showing some bullishness in extreme short term. Probably he may get an opportunity. The stock can do 120 in extreme short term if it starts trading above 11. Or you can buy here also, but he's already bought it, so we cannot recommend him to buy right now. But he can look at 120 and then 134, and rather he can book profits over there and maybe trade a bit, and then buy on dips once he books the profits over 120 and 134.
Okay, well, one more for you, Mr. Fidai. We have a question on TCS. Ranjit says he wants a short-term view. Actually, he's been specific. He wants a 2-week view on TCS, which he's bought at around 1819. So 1819 is his entry price, currently at 1865. What would you suggest?
Agam, you want to just complete the circle because Zamir is also asking about Infosys. Why don't we get both of them out of the way?
Sure. Yeah,
okay. See, this one, TCS is just jumped up from a very good support area, and it has made multiple bottoms around 1800. So, his entry is at very good level, but the stock is facing lots of flack here. In extreme short term, if he wants to book profits, then he should look at, booking profits around 1890-ish. And part profit around 1890 and another part at 1920. Right. I don't expect the stock to do much right now in this momentum. Yeah, and let's look at Infosys. Infosys could face strong resistance around 755. That's its lifetime high. And though it has come out with this buyback proposal, it's an open market buyback. So the stock will not see much of traction above 755 or 760. One can look at booking profits if they are holding it right now, or they can go short around 760 with a stop loss at 764, 766.
Okay, let's take a view on one of the rice stocks. We've got a question from Hafizullah Sharif. He's asking for a target on KRBL, but I'm just going to try and get a technical view. Gaurang, if you have coverage of this particular stock, or if you can tell us about the space, if you're tracking any companies there that you like.
So unfortunately, we don't cover many stocks. The only stock that we cover with related exposure is agrotech food. Recently, I think about a week back, they came out with the numbers, Alex, much in line with what our estimates were. But on KRBL and others, we don't have any coverage, LT Foods, etc. We won't be able to comment on those.
Okay, well, moving on to have a question from Raj Shah, who wants a technical view on LMAX Industries. Let's pull that up. Let's see where LMAX Industries is currently trading at. It's at 1687. It doesn't look like a very liquid stock as far as cash markets go. And today, only 653 odd shares are traded. But it is, however, in the news of late. Mr. Fidai, your technical view on this one.
Okay. Basically, you should, if you have already bought into this stock, keep a stop loss below 1670. Okay, in extreme short term, whether if it breaks that, then it can head down much deeper. And actually, it is in a lower top, lower bottom, so it's facing lots of selling pressure. As you rightly said, it is a very illiquid counter, so there could be more spikes, whipsaws also. And on the upside, there is a potential to go up to 1790 or 1850. Okay. And that would be facing lots of resistance around 1850-ish, 1860-ish. So currently it is in a consolidation. I wouldn't want to buy this stock personally, seriously. Okay. There are better opportunities.
Okay, we've got an interesting query, I think, because we haven't really addressed this space much. Ramanathan Hariharan is asking for a long-term view, Gaurang, on Balaji Telefilms. He has been looking at the numbers and he sees that the last 3 quarters they've been reducing losses, but he wants a comparison between Balaji and its peers. He also wants to talk about Zee Entertainment. He wants to talk about Network 18. In that media pack, would you pick any of those names? How would you rate Balaji Telefilms?
So my humble request would be that don't go for this so-called turnaround stories because they might be misleading at times. I'm talking about Balaji. Wait for the entire clarity to emerge, then only go for it. After looking at numbers yesterday, Zee Entertainment is a much better proposition. 565 is the target for long term. Well penetrated market for Zee Entertainment, bouquet of channels diversified, starting with regional, linguistic, vernacular, across general content, business news content. My sense is that this is a better stock to get invested, Zee Entertainment.
Okay. Well, on Facebook, we have Salahuddin Momin, who wants a 6-month view on Zee Entertainment. It's been...
we took that on the top of the show, but there are some other...
okay, but so we also have a question on Lakshmi Vilas Bank in that case. And let's pull that up, and perhaps if we can address that. Well, Lakshmi Vilas Bank is currently at 76.8. Mr. Fidai, how would you advise the moment to go about this one?
Well, seriously, I wouldn't want to buy this banking stock, especially Lakshmi Vilas, because it's an illiquid counter compared to, I would request the person to shift to maybe Axis Bank or ICICI Bank.
Right.
They are looking very good. I've just covered the stock in Axis Bank on hot money. So one can watch that and one can take a view from there also. Okay,
fair enough.
Okay, well, that's an interesting question. We did take a technical view of all cargo logistics. We've got another question from Ramanathan on Gati. I think he's asking for a long-term view though. Why don't we take it to Gaurang then? Gaurang, do any of these companies seem attractive to you? This obviously is a very long-term play and a long-term bet.
So in the logistics sector, pre-GST, I think there was a lot of euphoria. Most of these stocks rallied much beyond their capacity of delivering on earnings, and then you've seen huge underperformance and consolidation. Some of the names that we like: Transport Corporation of India, Blue Dart, Container Corporation, and Mahindra Logistics. I think these are much established names and companies which can actually take advantage of a huge consolidation that is likely to happen in the logistics sector thanks to GST.
Okay, Gaurang, another question for you. Rahul wants to know, how are valuations for Bajaj Finance and Bajaj Finserv looking right now at this point in time?
Good question.
So both, I think, after the huge correction that we saw over the last 2.5 months, thanks to the great scare of a huge default by housing finance companies and NBFCs, and from those lower levels, Agam, both these stocks have bounced back very sharply, very smartly, and much better than the peers. We are positive on both these stocks. Earnings-wise, they look extremely positive. If you are looking to invest, start with a small portion right now, stagger your investment and average at lower levels.
All right, well, let's now slip into the segment that is meant to get as many of your queries as possible answered. That's obviously the rapid fire segment. Just a shout out to both our experts to keep their answers as short as possible. Let's take a quick view on Crest Ventures on technicals. Sumit Agrawal wants to know about this counter. Mr. Fidai?
If it's for a long term, then yes, this stock has made a bottom. One can buy this around 126 or 130 and keep a stop loss at 118 or probably. That would be if it breaks 118, it will go into tailspin.
Okay.
And on the upside, there is a huge potential. The stock can make a rounding bottom and go up to 200 plus also.
Okay, Avyakta wants a view on Reliance Industries. This is a technical view. Ahead of earnings, we are expecting earnings tomorrow. It's currently at 1140. Mr. Fidai, what would you suggest?
Well, for Reliance, I would go long here. It's looking very bullish right now at the moment. The stock has broken out in extreme short term. On the upside, there could be a potential it could go up to 1185.
Okay. Voice of the Lamb, you got to tell us who you are. I'm very curious. He's asking whether he should hold Gaurang, Wipro and HFCL, which is Himachal Futuristic Communications, for the next 5 to 10 years.
5 to 10 years back, I think Himachal Futuristic was trading at 3,000, correct me if I'm wrong. And from there, you've seen lower single digit. It's a disaster. Please avoid these kind of stocks. There are better quality stocks that you can buy rather than getting into R Power, RCom, HFCL, GVK, GMR. I mean, I can go on and on, Alex. On Wipro, sell on rally, switch on to either L&T, Infotech or Technologies.
Okay, Mr. Fidai, L&T Technologies. This is a question from Dharmil. Bought at 1500 levels. He wants a short-term view. L&T Technologies is now at 1656. Your advice?
He should hold the stock and keep a stop loss on trailing basis at 1590. Okay, on the upside, there is a good potential to go up to 1740. If it crosses 1770, the stock can do 1900 or even higher. Okay. So it's in beautiful traction. The stock has been moving upwards throughout. Okay. One can remain bullish.
All right, well, that's all we have time for. on this edition of Ask BQ. Thank you so much to both our guests, Gaurang and Mr. Fidai, for helping our viewers with all the questions that they took today.
But remember, we are just a tweet, a post, or a call away, so keep your queries coming in, and we promise to address all of them through our shows. For all the previous episodes, visit our YouTube channel or our website, bloombergpin.com. But don't go anywhere. Up next is Power Lunch. Stay tuned in.